Is overvaluing ruining UK estate agency? Today I'm joined by the wonderful Dave Gibbons, who is an estate agent from the Northwest and also a bit of an estate agency guru. Dave, is overvaluing ruining an estate agency? Talk to me.
Yes. Massively. I mean, I'm going to say something on here now, which I don't think anybody's ever said. Estate agents don't value houses. We don't value houses at all.
No.
We offer a service. The only people who value houses are banks, brick surveyors and buyers because they've got financial skin in the game. We don't value houses. So it's, in my opinion, it's the estate agent's job to list a property at a price that is attractive enough to draw in the crowd outside that may want to buy it. Okay? It's not our job to please the vendors' egos by telling them what they want to hear.
Great.
And if you go down that route, it's one of two things. You're either not good enough at your job or you're weak.
I posted something on social media because, as you know, I like to throw
A little bit.
a few little hand grenades. And someone said to me that it's not estate agent's fault, it's vendor's fault.
No, it's not. It's not. It's the vendor's fault. Vendors can get away with it because they don't have the information, they don't have the data, they don't have the knowledge. So we can accept their ignorance a little bit.
What about human greed?
100% human greed comes into it. It can from both sides, but
Yes.
predominantly it's the agents. And what we've got to look at, Chris, is why are they overvaluing in the first place? That's the question. Why would you want to overvalue? Because as any salesperson worth the salt, we just want to get in, get out and earn the commission as quickly as possible and walk away with both
I mean,
parties
isn't
happy.
it shocking that we only get paid on 53% of the homes that we list?
Outstandingly shocking, Chris. It's ridiculous.
36.
Yeah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand it. In my opinion, it should be your job as an estate agent for your sanity, your business, your brand, to get that property on the market as low as possible, not as high as possible. We've got it the wrong way around.
And low as possible, I probably slightly disagree with you, but as you said earlier on, to put it on a right sort of price to attract people into the party.
Yeah. So for us, the way I like to see it is if your house is worth 100k, traditionally estate agents can go and say, well, let's put it for 110 and we've got 10 grand with the wiggle room. Where I say, let's put it on offers over 95. That's mine. So
yeah,
we're still within the same. In fact, my percentage is slightly more realistic than the 110. If you do that, and here's an analogy I tell clients when we have a story about this. So look, let's say you're looking for a 3 Series BMW. You want a cobalt blue, ivory interior, 18-inch alloys with 30,000 miles on the clock. Yeah, it's got to be within this particular year. And you go on Auto Trader and you see two cars. They both look identical. One of them's 3 grand cheaper than the other one. Which one would you go and see first?
3 grand cheaper one.
Well, there you go. There you go. And it's our job to do this. It's our job to get all of the eyes on the price.
Yeah.
And then it's our job to negotiate, which is where most estate agents get it wrong because they can't negotiate for toffee.
And they can't negotiate because they haven't been trained and developed in the way to do this.
Correct.
And that's because they've not been empowered by their bosses who lack direction.
100%. In my opinion, yes.
Is there such thing as ethical overvaluing?
How would you mean? What do you mean? Ethical overvaluing? I can't see how that would work.
Mr. Miggins, I think your house is worth 100, but we'll try it at 110. But what we'll do is I will come back in 3 weeks' time. We'll book the appointment now. And I will take responsibility for this. That if you're happy with them, there's only 2 reasons a house won't sell.
Yeah.
One is poor marketing and the other one is price. If you're happy with the marketing, we've tried it for 3 weeks, but then after that we will drop it to 100.
What's the benefit to either the seller or the agent for doing that?
There's estate agents that, it's all very good you eulogising here saying don't overvalue, don't overvalue, don't overvalue. but there's a real world out there, and I think there is unethical overvaluing where you just basically say 110, knowing damn well that Floss is going to get the price down, but Floss has not been trained to get the price down because
100%.
she's poor at marketing.
Yeah.
He or she might be poor at marketing.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's on the market for 26 weeks, and we've been slicing off $2,000 here there because of rubbish. That's unethical.
So
Ethical is where the valuer takes responsibility. Say, I think it's worth 100, but if you've been told 110 elsewhere,
we'll give it a go. Okay, so understanding that, yeah, that's not too bad. But you're not ethically or unethically, you're putting a value on it. So I would still be saying I still think it's worth 90 grand. However, if you've had 3 other people tell you that they can achieve 105 to 110 for it, and I don't think it's a million miles away, and it's a great property, and it's, you know, they're our type of client. Yeah. They're not going to be arsed here, they're our type of client. Then what I would do in that situation is say, well, look, Chris, I'm here, you're there. I'm going to tell you something now. The first 2 weeks are going to be the most vital. And if we get it wrong in this first 2 weeks, it could be a detriment. I'd put it on at this and leave it. But if you want to do it at this, let's give it this 2 weeks. But if it's not, can we both agree that it's going to go down to my price after the 2 weeks if we've had no traction? And if it does at that point, then I'm good to go. But anything after 2 weeks, you're wasting your time.
okay, but then there's estate agents out there, so if I say that, I'm already on the back foot.
Well, that depends. Not if you've told them where you believe. You've got to stick to your guns. You're the expert in the room, or you should be. If you know what this price is, you know via data what this property is worth and where it's likely to be.
But you can't sell it unless you've got it.
Of course you can't, but you have to be honest in the room.
And do you think this is where we have to be brave to be able to walk away? Because there's no point trying to hang on to something if you're not going to earn from it. It's just the ego of having it.
Of course it is, yeah. If you can if you can walk away from the conversation knowing that, look, we've had this conversation, we've raised the issue of price, I've explained my reasons why I probably wouldn't do it, but I'm willing to in this occasion.
Okay.
And we've got a couple of weeks.
Right. Okay. So what would your advice be to those people that do lose it for overvaluing? Because what I often find with estate agents is you ask A, B, and C out, and you're C, but they go with A because they overvalue, but they never come back to the 2. They always go to agent D. Why are estate agents so bad at getting it a second time around?
They're not staying in contact. The lack of communication is probably going to be the key there. How you do that in numerous different ways. There's some great CRMs out there at the moment. I use a fantastic one that does a lot of the nurture journeys for us.
What are you doing to keep in contact? Because most estate agencies ring them up after 8 weeks saying, "How are you getting on?"
Yeah, well, what we would do is we put them into. But once we've gone to the valuation, we'll put them into a WhatsApp group. Once they're in a WhatsApp group, either the property manager or broker will be in contact with that client over the space of a month. We'll probably give it about 6 to 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, then it just goes into our nurturing system, and we kind of don't touch it.
So what are you sending through this? Because I'm a big fan of WhatsApp broadcast lists, not groups.
Yeah. So ours are individual groups. So when we take you on as a client, or once you've had a valuation, the first thing we'll set up a WhatsApp group with yourself, your partner, and the salesperson involved. Everything goes via this particular group, and then we're staying in contact via that group as well. Every now and again, we'd give them a call. If we see that they've gone on the market with another agent, in all honesty, Chris, I'm not that bothered about them. I've got more business coming through that I don't need to touch it. And once it's been on with somebody else, it's a bit harder to sell the second time round and get the same kind of traction on it. So I'm not that bothered about it.
No, I mean, interestingly, the stats are, looking at the last 12 months, you got 59% chance of sale agreed with first agent and 44% with second agent.
Yes. Yeah, so it's a lot harder. The public's view of these houses, I mean...
Are you saying you don't go for the second-hand stuff?
Yeah, I'm not that bothered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bit cocky, isn't it?
We get enough for what we do. We run a small independent agency, 1 salesperson, 8 to 10 sales a month. It's enough.
Fair enough, then.
So what would you do in the scenario there, Chris? How would you stay in contact with these? Or what have you found the best is probably the best question. What have you found the best practice for staying in contact with these sellers?
Well, I agree with you. It's all about communication, but it's what you communicate and how you communicate, which is the,
yeah,
you know, and you see most estate agents say, "Give me a call if you're not getting anywhere." Well, quite frankly, that's like an ex-girlfriend up ringing up saying he was awful. Can I come back to you? You're never going to get that.
No.
So the best thing is I'm a massive fan of broadcast lists. A broadcast list is where it's not one to a group, it's one to many.
Yeah.
And I would put this potential vendor into 2 broadcast lists.
Yeah.
One broadcast list of the houses that the type of house that they own,
Yeah.
and the second broadcast list of the type of house that they potentially want to buy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in the northwest. Which town are you again?
Warrington.
Warrington. So if I would have is it Warrington itself or one of the outlying villages?
It's one of the outlining villages.
Okay, so therefore I would have a list of anyone who owns a 3-bedroom semi in Warrington.
Yeah.
Or you could do housing if there's a big housing estate or a big village. Anyone who owns a 3-bedroom semi in that village or whatever area.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone in it, I've been to value it. They own a 3-bedroom semi in that area. I would also have another broadcast list where I've been to value it, but they're looking for a.
Yes.
Okay, and once a week I would go in and look at the whole market, and if I see a gorgeous 3-bedroom, I pick a 3-bedroom semi,
Yeah.
and I would send that 3-bedroom semi, and I'm not selling this 3-bedroom semi.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone's selling it. You basically would send the message, and the broadcast list enables you to send this, and you say, as you own a 3-bedroom semi in Warrington, I thought I'd send you this because this is would be a competitor of yours.
Like it.
Okay, and then if they're looking for a 4-bed, which is the other broadcast list.
Yeah.
As I know you are looking for a 4-bed, I saw this and thought of you.
This one's up with Stevenson's or whoever else, maybe. Yeah.
If you're really smart, if you go, I mean, you can do this yourself, or I know Luke St. Clair from Knightsbridge has this. You can actually put these into spreadsheets so you can put their first names.
Nice.
So, Dave, you owning a 3-bedroom semi.
Yeah.
I just thought this 3-bedroom semi could be a competitor of yours and wanted to keep you updated on the market.
Fantastic. And free as well, free to use. Brilliant. Absolutely love it.
That's what I would do. Broadcast this is where it's at.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my opinion. I don't think that's what I teach my clients to do.
Yeah,
So.
100%. Get it.
Dave, thank you for your time today. Truly exceptional.